Hello. So, been working on a tipping point scales build. Um, Went with a 4 blue, 2 red setup, and I went with a GR9 with Frenzy. Um, you can use any LMG you want. Iron Long works really good, and so does Pestilence. Um, and if you don't want to use Catharsis or you don't have it yet, you can use Tinkerer Mask. And on the secondary talent, if you're gonna use that, I would recommend. Um, where is my? There it is. I've been trying out Streamline. Streamline makes that first clip hit really hard, and the second clip hit even harder if you set it up with Tinkerer Mask. Um, but yeah, I've just been running a GR9 with just Frenzy because this tipping scales is crazy. I went with the backpack to increase the critical hit damage received per stack from 4 to 7 because it bumps you up bigger than the chest does. And I like running Unbreakable on a set like this. You could also go with Everyday Carry. I tried that one as well, and it does work really good. Um, I went with crit hit chance on most of the stuff. I think they're all ruled to crit hit chance because LMGs just don't have that much in the way of critical hit chance naturally, and I'm running Catharsis, so if I switched it over to the Tinkerer Mask, I'd probably swap some more over to crit hit damage. You don't really need weapon handling either because this set gives you a ridiculous amount, so yeah. Um, it's a really fun build to use. It hits really, really hard. This time I went with a Stinger Hive over my regular decoy. Just to try and slow people down that are running at you, because you really don't want to try and face tank with this unless you have all your stacks up, or if you've got Frenzy. But I've been finding Stinger Hive really useful for slowing people down running at you or cutting off an area, because I personally wouldn't really want to run slower against someone using a build like this. I went with Defender Drone as well, just to try and keep myself alive a little bit longer. I know 12% damage reduction isn't a lot, but it's better than 0. So yeah, this is how I set up my tipping point scales. Um, if you're going to run the Tinkerer Mask, I'd probably still recommend running 4 blue or even 5 blue, because you won't really need the extra damage like I do, because I'm just running GR9. But yeah, this is how I set it up. I've been having a lot of fun with it. And the backup weapon doesn't really matter. You can just pick whatever you want. I usually do like an iron lung. But yeah, so I set up my tipping point. I also went with gunner just so you can get that 50 round mag, because now I have 325 rounds in GR9, and a frenzy proc off of that is pretty crazy. But yeah, if you're not gonna run GR9, um, you could probably swap out gunner for firewall just so you can have that mag kit, because that mag kit's just the best. The other one I've been using lately is a Striker Bighorn build with Catharsis and Everyday Carry. My Bighorn has crit hit chance rolled on it, and I have crit hit chance, crit hit damage on a bunch of my pieces. This is still the same pieces that I use on my Eagle Bearer build. So yeah, I only have one roll to crit hit chance, and the rest are roll crit hit damage. The mod is crit hit damage, crit hit chance on the chest, and crit hit damage on the backpack. And yeah, I got 36% crit hit chance. If you want more, you can obviously add a couple more crit hit chance mods, right? I just I find I do enough damage that I was just trying to shoot for 40%, and I got to 36. I'll get a little bit higher once I fully max this out. So yeah, this is how I set up my Bighorn build for Striker. Another build, well, this is my new farming build that I use in the Dark Zone. It's just Hunter's Fury with Memento backpack instead of Catharsis this time around. I find this one handles other players a lot better than the other one did. Just because you're getting like 30% weapon damage off of this, and you get a pretty big bonus of 10% weapon damage whenever you pick up a Memento stack, just because you do have 2 reds. And yeah, I went with Lady Death because it's really good at doing burst damage. You could obviously run anything that you want to, like the apartment works really good with this build too, and so does Chatterbox and Backfire. Backfire works because you just keep healing yourself all the time, so you don't even really worry about that bleed. And the bonus armor from Memento stacks helps you eat that bleed too, so yeah. I went with a Grupo Unbreakable since I'm running a SMG. I just wanted extra crit hit damage. You could also run a Sokolov Concern with Unbreakable. That also works. You just get more raw damage instead of critical hit damage. But yeah. All the mods are crit hit damage, and I've got 2 pieces rolled to crit hit chance. I think it's just a knees and holster. I want to replace one of those eventually when I fully max out everything. So yeah, this is my new farming build in the DZ. I use it all the time. I went with Gunner just to help out, get more armor on kill, right? Turning it from 20% to 30% makes it a little bit easier to keep yourself alive and not have to use your med kits unless you're forced to when you're fighting players. And yeah, this is a lot of fun to use in the Dark Zone to do all your farming runs. Another build that I've been working on just to test it out. I severely underestimated how good Cavalier is if you run the backpack. I've been running this as one of my support builds when I'm in a team. I don't really care about the 40% repair skills. I don't use this as a healer build. But in case you don't know how it works, is for every second spent out of combat, during combat, agents will get 5% reduced incoming skill damage, max of 50%. While fully charged, gain immunity to any movement speed debuff, and share this with all of the agents' hazard protection and incoming skill damage reduction with all allies for 10 seconds. After charge is consumed, charging buff will resume if still in combat and out of cover. So, if you run the backpack, it takes it from 5% to 10%, meaning that every 5 seconds you give your team your hazard protection for 10 seconds. And your 50% skill damage reduction. And my current hazard protection is 60%. So if your team has any hazard protection, you max it out immediately. I decided to go with Catharsis and Everyday Carry, but I went with crit hit chance, crit hit damage, and a crit hit chance mod because I'm running Backfire. I got really high hazard protection, so why not run that instead of any other gun? I went with crit hit damage on my knees and holster. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend trying to face tank with this build. It's not really meant for that. It's like mid-range support. I also went with Survivalist so that every time I pop my medkits, my teammates get them as well. Because yeah, your team receives your entire medkit whenever you pop it within 20 meters. So this is a pretty handy support build, and it keeps your team from getting foamed or hit with iron lung or any of that kind of stuff. I went with Booster Hive just to get my own hazard protection higher, and Defender Drone to try and help me stay alive. And yeah, you don't have to run the apartment as the secondary. I actually would probably recommend like any assault rifle that you like using. I like using Lexington. But yeah, I was just leveling up the apartment, and this was one of the builds I was running around solo with for a while. This one is an idea I've been testing out. Oh, these are not the right skills. I've just been using the proficiency, but I do like the shock trap, but I've been testing this out. So this is 100% hazard protection, right? So the reason I've been trying this out was because there was a lobby where everyone was running riot foam and iron lungs, and I wanted to see if there was a way I could protect myself and still do a ton of damage, and this is what I came up with. So I run backfire because 100% has pro, you don't have to worry about the bleed at all. I got hazard protection, crit damage, and crit damage mod on my mask. I'm running a Sokolov Concern with Unbreakable on it, with crit chance, crit damage. Uzina gloves. So I have 2 pieces of Uzina for the 30% hazard protection. The total armor and armor on kill doesn't matter too much. I got crit chance, crit damage rolled there. I'm running a Yawl piece for the hazard protection, and it also gives me weapon damage with crit chance, crit damage. And Cavalier with hazard protection. Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. It doesn't do the most damage. Like once you start building up your stacks, when you get to around 40, that's when you start doing like real damage. But you also don't get hit by riot foam or anything really. Everything doesn't affect you at all because you're 100% Hasbro. So that's why I was running the shock trap, so I could just throw it on myself and I don't have to worry about getting zapped while everyone else does. And yeah, my backup is the Lexington, but if you didn't get it during the last summer event, any assault rifle will work. Doesn't matter too much. I went with Orbit. Could go with TDI card custom as well for the extra skill tier. And yeah, this is a really fun build. I like it a lot, but it is a patience game using the backfire because you do have to build up your stacks. So it's a lot of popping in and out of cover to build up your stacks. I think that's all the builds that I've been working on lately. Oh, I did change my Yawl piece on my Umbra build for a Providence so that I could get more crit chance and headshot damage. So I'm sitting at 128 base crit damage and 128 headshot damage with 59% crit hit chance. And yeah, it's been working out pretty good. I like the Providence piece over the Yawl piece now. And yeah, you can hit people really hard in the head. I think that's all the builds I've been working on. I don't think the armor regen is worth showing, but I did switch it around a little bit. I've put hazard protection on everything that I could, just because if you're running into a lobby and you're solo all the time, it's really hard to deal with riot foam. I also put ensnare resistance on my Catharsis mask. And that's because I can get, I think I'm at like, what am I at? I'm at like almost 60. Yeah, I'm at 58.1% ensnare resistance. It's not as high as you can really get it, but I don't know. This has been working out pretty good. I have to switch out the gloves eventually for hazard protection, but yeah. It's still a Bighorn armor regen build, so you're gonna be smoking heads really hard, so you have to be comfortable hitting your headshots, but yeah, this is what I use when I'm solo and everyone's running around with all of the annoying things, like iron lung, riot foam, that kind of thing. But yeah, these are all the builds that I've been working. Oh, I also went back to the mop with preservation on my armor regen, just to keep myself alive a little bit better, since I did roll off all of my armor regen. So yeah. Yeah, you all have a wonderful day.